I ask that you please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you all. I want to take a moment and I want to thank Royal Sands for hosting us tonight. I want to thank the Royal Rabbit Band for playing for us here after we finish speaking. I want to thank those who have donated tonight, to the organizations, the individual donors, to the Texans who have shown up tonight, also to the Friends of Texas who may not call the Lone Star State home, but who have chosen to stand with us in this moment. We're incredibly grateful for your outpouring of love and support during these painful times. Finally, I want to recognize and thank the members of Congress who are carrying heavy mantles right now as they help lead their constituents through unthinkable losses and the long path to recovery. We pray for your strength, your wisdom, and your endurance in the days and months ahead. Texas is hurting, but as always, Texas will overcome. One of those members who is currently leading his district and constituents through this terrible tragedy is Congressman Chip Roy. And I want to thank him and invite him up here to say a few words. Congressman.
Well, thanks everybody. Can y'all hear me? Well, Marcy, thank you. Thanks for everybody at the Texas State Society for organizing this great event. Such a great turnout here, especially as session is winding down. There's an event over at the White House where I'm supposed to be. I look forward to going over there and getting probably yelled at by the president for something, almost certainly. But I'm happy to be here right now with so many great friends and Texans and some of my staff and folks that I know here who are showing up to show solidarity with the people that got affected. It wasn't just in Texas 21. It just wasn't the folks in Kerrville and they're in that beautiful part of the state, but everybody across the state and even the country. As you saw, my colleague Buddy Carter had family. We had other members that were throughout the country that had impacts. Obviously, August Pfluger, I know his staff is here. His two daughters were at Mystic. But, it was interesting. It was July 3rd, and we had just wound up, obviously the big, beautiful bill. I was trying to figure out what I was doing. I'm almost, the last 10 years I've been at 4th of July in Kerrville, right there, in the park, listening to Robert Earl Keen, and this year was going to be William Beckman. That was the plan. I was literally that night on the 3rd watching the weather at about 11 p.m. trying to figure out if I was going to fly home, go to the concert, or stay here at the president's request to be here at the big, beautiful bill signing. And so I decided, well, I guess I'll stay here. It looks like it's going to rain. It doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly pretty day, so I'll be up here for it. And then I woke up on the 4th, and we all knew and saw what happened on the morning of the 4th. So I then started rerouting my plans. But here's what I think is important. I called the president, and I said, I'm not going to be able to be at the signing. I got to get to Texas. And he immediately said, whatever you need. Called the secretary. She said, whatever you need. The entire government apparatus from federal, state, and local got involved immediately. The governor was immediately on the scene. NIM Kid, if you know NIM, heads up the Texas Department of Emergency Management, is immediately on the scene. Sheriff Latha in Kerrville, in Kerr County, he's been on top of it from the very beginning. Dalton, the city manager, all the people that have been down there, they've been just right on top of it. And I can't possibly put into words what we saw when we were on the ground on the night of the 4th, all day the 5th, all day the 6th. I took a helicopter ride and I got to see it, but that wasn't the thing. It was driving out to Hunt. It was driving out 39. If any of you who have driven out that or went to the camps, that was my favorite part of the state of Texas. And not just because I represent it. It's just such a beautiful drive, and it's such a great place. And all those camps that have such a long and storied history, all of the, there's like 40 camps out there. There's about 18 or 20 right there on the river. And, I was always entertained when people that week were saying, why are all these camps down on the river? And I was like, well, because it's the river. It's a great place. It's a great place for kids to be. And there's such a great and storied history there. And I want to say this, there's so many stories on the grief side. On Saturday night, I went in with the sheriff and with the city manager to meet with the families of those who still hadn't found their little girls from Camp Mystic. And singly, the hardest thing I've ever had to do since I've been in public service. And there was Mary Liz Eastland, who I didn't know until that night. But that was Dick Eastland's daughter-in-law. And she was there, having been a director of that camp with these families, because that's what they do. They showed up to support each other. And it was hard. It was really hard. And all those families were looking for support and help, and the community rallied around them. And that's what I want everybody here to understand. The message that the entire world is seeing about a community like Kerrville and a state like Texas, about how people respond and showing up with faith and showing up with determination. I mean, right there on the spot. I went down there on Wednesday afterwards, and I'd been there through Sunday, Monday, went home, see my family for a day, went back. Then Wednesday I was there with Samaritan's Purse. They were cleaning out a house of a family that I know that was right there, right across from Camp La Junta, if you know where that is. And it was one of the last houses remaining. And if you looked up the river, there was like 3 or 4 foundations. There were foundations. They were gone. The houses were gone. So I'm meeting with the family. We're talking to Samaritan's Purse. And I look out, and over a live oak tree, right in front, that somehow survived it, sitting in front of this foundation, that's all that's left, was a man sitting in a chair, in an Adirondack chair. And he was just sitting there. And they told me that he was there trying to look for his son. And this is the story, if you've seen it, of the 20-year-old boy who had at 4 a.m. called him and called his dad saying, hey, the flood's coming up, we're trying to get out. And he's like, get to high ground. And he put the phone in one of the girls' hands. He was there with 3 girls, his girlfriend and 2 girls, and gave it to one of the girls. And he was trying to help the 2 girls, trying to get them out. And then a tree came in and hit the house and took them out. And so the 3 girls were found, and then this man was just looking for his son. I went over and talked to him and prayed with him, and we talked about it. And he was so centered and so confident about where his son is and about how grateful he was for the community rallying around. And I kept hearing that story over and over again throughout Kerrville. The Community Foundation that has been the directed charity of choice. It's where Robert Earl Keen's concert funds will go. It's where most of the funds are being directed. And I know you guys are going to decide what you do with the funds, and you'll do that, and that's awesome. The Community Foundation today announced they're up to $60 million that they've raised over the last week. $60 million over the last basically 2 weeks. They've distributed about $8 million. And they're doing it through grants to individuals so that they can help people and then figure out the best way to do it without grift, without all of the normal nonsense that goes on. And they're doing a phenomenal job. The amount of charity that's been going and active on the ground, I cannot overstate how wonderful it is to see. And I don't know, and I'll just say this, there's people of different walks of life and people of different faiths in this room. But I will tell you that the faith in the Lord Almighty that binds the community together in Kerrville was on full display. And if you know Kerrville with the cross up on the hill, and you know the faith that binds that community together, it was so powerful seeing that and seeing what that meant for people around the world to understand that despite losing these 27 little girls and all those families who were camping and sitting there along the river, about what a story and testament it is to Texas and to the community about what you do in the face of this kind of adversity. And so I just want to thank you all. Thank you for being here. The stories of hope, the stories, I'm telling you, all the people in the camps are rebuilding. They want to rebuild. They want to open next year. Camp Mystic's 100 years old next year. These camps want to get back going because they know how important they are. All of the Hunt store, I don't know if you know John Dunn, who used to own the store. He sold it, but he's still actively involved. He says, we're going to rebuild. If you know the Hunt store, we're going to rebuild it. It's going to look like it looked. We're going to rebuild it to be the same. And we need this to be at the core of the Hunt community. So they're going to rebuild. It's going to be better than ever. We get caught up in the minutia of a few days or a few years and the trees and so forth. And millennia go by, and that part of earth God gave us for its beauty and how wonderful it is. And we're going to keep going there, and we're going to keep camping and fishing, and the state will meet and they'll figure out alarm systems and figure out the better way to do it in the future. But just rally around the community and do what Texans do best. Do what you're doing here. Sorry for going a little bit long, but this has meant a lot to me. It's meant a lot to the community. It's meant a lot to the state and my colleagues, and I can't thank you enough. Can't thank the Texas State Society enough. So whatever you need to do, go bid on that stuff and bid up the money. Get the dollars going back to the great people at Kerrville. And God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. If that does not perfectly sum up what we're doing here tonight,